Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Want to know what's happening in your city? Get Notify Me messages from the City of Fitchburg. Visit fitchburgwi.gov on your computer or mobile device and select the big Notify Me button on the left. Enter your email and/or phone number, whichever is best for you to get notifications. Scroll down the list and select all the topics you're interested in to receive email or text messages about. You'll be notified every time one of your topics is updated. Sign up for Notify Me, one more way to keep up with your Fitchburg government.
Okay, we'll call to order. Welcome everyone to the January 2026 Library Board meeting. Called at 5:30. Public appearances, I'm not aware of any.
Nope.
So, approval of minutes. May I have a motion to approve the November meeting minutes? We did not have a meeting in December, so November was our last meeting.
I'll make that motion.
John, thank you. Any discussion, questions, comments about the minutes? Don't see anything from Mariah or Logan, so. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And approved. Financial reports, we'll look at the September and October financial register together. And then, but I'll ask for a motion to approve the September and October financial registers and the overview, and then we'll have Wendy go through all of that. May I have a motion?
I'll motion.
Brett, thank you.
All right, I'll go through a couple of things here. September, you'll see in account 245, we have a charge there for the Solus template. That's for our mobile app. And I'm happy to report that we are moving to a new ILS this spring, and I believe it comes with its own app, so this is something we won't have to pay again next year, which is always good to see. Account 350, it looks like we got a fabulous deal on a power washer for $51, but this is one of Kevin's pieces of equipment, so he buys it and splits it across multiple buildings at the city. Mm-hmm. Oh, Logan's got a visitor.
Gordy.
Oh, you get bonus points for that. So the power washer is being split between multiple buildings. Also would point out in account 360, Ant Flow, we provide free period products in our restrooms. We installed those probably 4 years ago, and at that point, it was right after the pandemic, so we had some extra money from not being open, so we invested pretty heavily both in the machines but in supplies. At that point, we have not had to restock since then, so this is probably the first time in 5 years that we've had to put some money into that. But
I was going to ask who OnFlow was.
Yes. So that's, I think, good. Looking at October now. You'll see in account 250, Wisconsin State Journal RFP advertisement. So this is for the Children's Library redesign. We had to post that in the Wisconsin Journal 2 different dates to comply with how cities have to do RFPs. Yep. So that was something that the Public Works Department helped us with because it was new for us. Then on account 355, you'll see computers. So we purchase computers once a year. This is a fairly low amount for replacements. We have a 5-year replacement schedule. Lisa Stipik tracks all of that and replaces them. We're trying to sort of spread things out so that we're replacing laptops and desktops at the same time so that we don't have years that are much more expensive than others. Sometimes if we're doing all patron, they're desktops and they're much less expensive, and then we get into the staff ones and their laptops. So we're trying to change a few things there. The other thing I would note is that I got an insider tip that one of the manufacturers of RAM, one of the two manufacturers of RAM, is going out of business. So we should order early. So we have already placed our 2026 order for computers. So that is going to come in much sooner than it did last year, simply because we're trying to beat the rush, I think, of everybody else trying to get in there. Should be about the same amount, I think. I think that's all I had on the registers. Did anybody have questions on the registers that I could answer?
Yeah, point of clarification,
Yeah.
section or 387.
Yeah.
Adult print, youth print. Now that is
Yes.
purchasing additional books or?
Yes, so that's all the materials that we're buying, that we're
Okay.
adding to the collection. We label them as youth, adult, essentially so that we can sort by that and report that on the annual report, which is something I'll be working on the next couple of months.
Okay.
So that is simply so that we can have better accounting of what we're spending in each account.
I may continue to ask some questions.
Yeah,
on
yeah,
these things, 'cause
absolutely. Please do.
I looked through it and everything looks okay, but all of a sudden something jump out at me.
Yes. Well, and there's audiobooks in there. There's some magazine subscriptions. We buy most of our magazines from one jobber, but then there are some that won't work with a jobber, and so then we had to buy them separately. So there's always kind of interesting things in there. Vox books are audio books for kids, where the audio player is built into the sort of the back cover of the book, so it's sort of replaced the book on CD. Yeah.
All right.
Always happy to share that kind of stuff.
Okay?
And any more questions on the register? Okay, on the overview, as you remember, we did a budget amendment to move some money around. Then Mariah and I did a memo to move some other money around for solar. Tim and I, at the end of the year, when we get to December, will be changing. So what the city does is they just go into the finance software and change the budgeted amount to reflect the addition or subtraction of money that we've moved. I find that really disconcerting before the year is over, so we'll add that in at the end of the year when we get the end of the accounting year. So there will be some changes happening there. It gets a little bit dicey for us because I don't think we can change the revenue. We use some interest income to cover utilities, but we can't say that we didn't get the interest income, so we just have to, Tim and I have to make sure that we're all on the right page with what has been spent. You'll notice here that the utility account is overspent. That's not really true because the new budget amount is $95,000. So it looks like we're in the hole. We would have been in the hole without the budget amendment, but it will all work out in the end, I promise.
Okay, as long as you promise.
Yep. I hate to promise anything with utilities. We just got the highest bill we've ever seen at the library for utilities for December.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Oof.
No surprise.
We'll get there in a couple of months, but yeah, I think that's all that I had for the overview. Any questions?
I did see, and where it's probably up in the register now, where interest income was
Yeah.
considerably up over
Yes.
prior, so, I mean, it's a good thing.
It's great. I have tried to increase that as a budget amount every year, and the finance department frowns on that.
Okay,
So when interest rates got really good, we had budgeted like $2,000, and I was not allowed to do more, even though I really asked a lot.
yeah, okay.
So they're trying to keep, I
And you-
think, expectations manageable.
And you're managing to the interest, maximizing the interest.
Yeah,
and that's-
yeah, and we've needed it for utilities, so
Yep.
thank goodness.
Yep. Okay,
All right.
other questions or concerns about the financial register or overview? Seeing none from our remote folks and nothing here. All in favor, say aye.
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 Approved. Unfinished business. I don't think we have any.
Nope.
And then new business. So first order is the ILS purchase order. Let's see, I guess we should start with a motion to
Yes,
approve, and then we can
please.
talk about it. But do we have a motion to approve the ILS purchase order?
I will motion.
Logan, okay.
All right, so this is a bill that we pay every January. It is probably one of the highest bills that we pay throughout the year because it's over $25,000. It needs the approval of the whole board. So this is our contract with South Central Library System. I'm going to reel off probably not everything that they do for us, but a lot of things that they do for us so that you know what goes into this. First and foremost is the ILS, so LinkCat, which, as I mentioned, and we'll talk more in the meeting later, that we are migrating to a new product for the ILS, but that is our whole patron database and our material database. It's how we know what's checked out, when it's due, who owes money for lost items, addresses, phone numbers, emails, all that kind of stuff. So that's probably the biggest part of it. We also have all of our computers on the South Central network, so we're paying for that. And that also comes with PC support because we buy our PCs through them. We also get PC support. Delivery services, we get delivery 5 days a week, sending stuff in and out. That's how everything moves around the system. That's a huge benefit, so that's in there. Wi-Fi, they have replaced the Wi-Fi access points, I would say twice since we've been open, but also the service there. Acquisition software, so everything that we're purchasing, we order through different vendors, but we upload that into an acquisition system so we know where we are financially in each account. Back to PCs, the login, if you've ever used a library computer, you have to log in with your card, and the authentication that goes through is part of their service. Also the SIP connections for our 5 self-checks and our sorter. And then we don't always use this, but we've used this a lot lately. They have, Deb Hafner is on staff, and she is an interior designer. And so she has helped us tremendously with the redesign that we've been doing on the second floor. I imagine she'll be involved in the children's library redesign. Any furniture that we buy through South Central with Deb's help, and we get to go through the state contract, so we get discounted prices. That's everything I could come up with at a moment's notice. I think we get really good value for what we get from them. So it is a lot of money, but I think this is the cost of doing business, and we're lucky that we have South Central to do it with. I think they're.
Is it constant across the years?
It goes up. They try really hard not to have increases because nobody likes an increase, but there are also a lot of really small libraries in the system, and if they get much of an increase, it can really affect them. So they try really hard. Harder than sometimes I think they should, to keep the costs pretty flat.
Brett, you had a comment?
I was just going to ask, I think I know the answer,
Yeah.
but if you're happy with the service
Yes.
quality.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, I think
And
we're
are there
very lucky.
alternatives
No,
to them? Okay,
not being in our location.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
So,
Yeah,
but I wouldn't, if I had the option, I wouldn't go anywhere else.
sure.
By being part of this.
Yes.
We're taking advantage of their group.
Yes.
Or, quantity purchase type
Yes,
thing.
and we are also legally obligated to be in a system. So it's
You
not.
have to be in a system.
Yes, that is a state statute.
Okay, all right. We don't have many options, and we're
Right.
happy with this. So
Yes.
that's good.
Yes, thank goodness.
All right.
Yeah.
Other comments or questions? Hi, Rachel, thanks for joining us. Anything remotely, any questions on the ILS purchase agree or order?
Yeah, I was just going to ask really quickly, is that under, when I'm looking at the financial overview, is that under one of our service contracts here? It's
Yes.
like account 290?
It will be.
Okay.
Yes, it is not, it doesn't appear there yet, but it will.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? All right. We'll ask for approval. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, approved. Authorize board president to approve the DPI annual report.
All right, so this
Well, we
is.
need a motion?
Oh, yeah, we should have a motion.
Yeah,
So motion to approve.
all motion.
Brett?
So this is something that we have started doing in the last couple of years. So the annual report opened just today. It is due to South Central on the 23rd of February, and then they will move it along to DPI. We will bring the whole report to the board, but we have had years in the past where if we have a blizzard in February and we don't get to meet on the 18th, and then we don't have a signed report, and we don't want to be late. So we give Ken the permission to sign the report. It is all just statistics. Essentially, you've seen them all in the monthly reports. They get put together in a different way because they have a really complicated form that we have to use for the state. But you will definitely see it. It'll just be after the fact, after it's been turned in. And that's just us trying to meet our deadlines, I guess.
Okay. Any questions or comments about the DPI annual report? Seeing nothing, we will ask for a vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Approved. And then Resolution R-06-26, sounds like I'm in the military, but proposal for creative and interactive feature for the Children's Library with Bachman Design Group, which there's some information in the packet that Tim sent out. The bid process and request for proposal came back with generated 2 responses. And the details, let's see, Bachman Group had a bid of $95,000 and Kramer Design and Production a bid of $100,000. The recommendation from, I'm not sure, the library, I guess.
Yep, staff.
It comes back to Bachman for $95,000, and there's 19 pages of information about that. Their legalese, contract, and what they can do and what they can't do, who's going to be involved, and all of that. Wendy, if you have some things you want to add
Yes,
to
can we
that.
do a motion first?
Oh, I'm sorry. So, motion to approve the proposal creative and interactive feature for Children's Library with the Bachman Design Group.
I'll make the motion.
All right?
Excellent. So, as you know, we've been working on this for, I don't know, Tim and I would say forever. So we started with this idea, and this all kind of stems from the fact that we're having financial issues with a lot of people going to Verona. So how do we bring people into the library? How do we entice people into the Fitchburg Library, both Fitchburg residents and anybody? And so we, 2 years ago, I think, went ahead with the CIP to put some money towards this. And so the entire project is a $200,000 project. That includes the entire children's area. This part of it is to install some kind of interactive feature that is interactive but not too interactive. So kind of children's museum-y, but not super, like we don't want a lot of moving parts and pieces that are going to break that we have to maintain. So we want it to be super fun and imaginative for kids. You go into some libraries and they've got a giant tree that you walk through, or you go in and there's a castle like at Verona, or the libraries that I worked at in Ohio had different book characters that had been turned into either a mural on the wall or a statue or a bench or something like that. So the complicating part of this whole project has been that it is the design and the fabrication and the installation. So you can't do a bid process exactly because you don't have the design. So you can't say, like, I want you to build me the very hungry caterpillar in a bench with these dimensions, and how much would you charge? So what we did was an RFP, request for proposals, with a cap of $100,000 and some direction from us about what we wanted it to be and where we thought it might go in the children's area, but being very open to their suggestions for that. We sent it out, so it went out on software called Quest. So we had to take a lot of direction from Public Works because they do this all the time and we have never done this. I would kind of like to never do it again, and there's a lot of hoops to jump through. So we had to do it on the software. We had to follow all of the guidelines of how it's set up. And then we sent it out on Quest, but then we also selected, I would say, probably 10 different companies that we found online that do this kind of thing and sent them either the RFP itself or a link to the software. We got 2 responses. I was torn between being disappointed that we only got 2 and being happy we got any. They were both really good proposals, and so we went through them. And then at the suggestion of the finance director and I think the deputy city administrator did interviews, so like Zoom interviews, and talked to both of the companies. So one of the companies, Kramer, does great stuff. They're in Cincinnati. They are kind of working through all of the branches of the Cincinnati Public Library, and they do really fun stuff, and we were impressed with it, but it felt to us a little bit like they would have a picture of like a bridge, and then all of a sudden you realize that like it plays music and it lights up, and like there's a lot of moving parts that we were sort of like, ooh, that's maybe more than we want to maintain. And like I feel like they're doing bigger and better with every project, and I'm not sure exactly what we wanted. Bachman is also local, which is fantastic. They have done work on the Black Hawk Church in Fitchburg. They are currently working on the Rindall Park Library that's being built as part of Madison. And I guess we felt a little bit like it would be more personalized service because they're local. And they're, I think, kind of getting into this business where Kramer's been doing it for a very long time. And we were sort of weighing that both ways. That could have gone either way, but we really felt after the interviews, especially, that we just felt more comfortable with Bachman. So that is the big document that's in here, including the contract, which has gone through contract review one time with the city attorney. They did remove an indemnity clause that she was not happy about. It is in the queue to be approved by her. It also, because it could or could not be, we're not sure, a public construction project that has to go to the Board of Public Works. So I am planning to go to their meeting next week. Then it will have to go to the Finance Committee, and then it will have to go to the Council. So all of those entities have to approve this. The Board of Public Works, we kind of went back and forth with. I was sort of arguing that the Library Board has control over this building, so we didn't need to go that route. But they were talking about the difference between, like, if you hang a TV on a wall, that's not public construction. If you cut a big hole in the wall to put the TV in, then that is public construction. So is it or isn't it? And I said, without the design part, like, we just don't know. So better safe than sorry. We don't want to do this again. We're going to jump through all the hoops. So
Makes sense.
I'm very happy with this. I'm very excited to get this moving. I think if we get this all approved through all the meetings next week, then we can start the design process in February. We will include a couple of board members, a couple of Friends members, children's staff, management staff, to do kind of a visioning of what we think it might be, see if they have suggestions for us. I think there's a million possibilities, and they're going to have to help us narrow it down, both in theme, but also, like, where's it going to be? Like, I think that entrance part is ripe for something. I think that play area is ripe for something. But I would love to see what they think. Yeah. The other thing that I really liked when we did the interview is that they were very cognizant of, like, we will start from the back and move towards the front, so we don't have to block any more off than we have to at a time. Like, we will clean it up. Like, safety was a big part of what they were talking about, cleaning up. We asked the other company about that, and they kind of just said, like, oh, we'll put up some walls. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah. And I've talked to Kevin Sorg at Bachman, and we've talked about, like, June and July are terrible because it's so busy in children's with summer reading, so we will not be doing construction at that time. So I'm guessing it will go after that. But I don't know. I don't know exactly how long design takes or construction takes. But
Well, they did have some type of estimate in here.
Yeah. So I think that's all things that we can work on with them.
Yeah.
I also think possibly in the future, so because they're local, if in the future we wanted to add small things to whatever the design ends up being, we could do that as a smaller project that isn't a CIP, doesn't require an RFP. We would already know them as a vendor.
And response would be a lot better if they're local as opposed to somebody.
I mean, there's just something really nice that they could drive across town and see, like, if we've got a problem. Because I will say, from working at Worthington, where we had all of the book characters, the Very Hungry Caterpillar bench got a hole in it, and somebody has to fix that. So, like, having the designers nearby, even just to say, like, who could do it, would be very helpful. So yeah, I'm very happy with where this is. I will be very relieved when we're through all of the hoops.
Sounds like a thoughtful approach. Just a few questions.
Yeah.
So the concept of an interactive children's museum like feature, how do we arrive at that conclusion and kind of tie into, are we confident, have we heard from, like, flight of Fitchburg residents going to the Verona Library that this is one of the reasons? why they're more inclined to visit the Verona Library?
I don't know that anybody has actually said that verbatim to us, but I know that children's, like kids, when I worked in Ohio, we had 3 libraries, and one of them had that Very Hungry Caterpillar.
Yeah.
And I remember being in a different library and a grandma with a toddler who was just crying, like, no, I said I wanted to go to the worm library.
Oh,
And she was just baffled, and I was like, it's the Very Hungry Caterpillar, and it's over at the Northwest Library.
Yeah.
She's like, we're going right now, thank you. So I think it is a big draw.
Yep.
I don't know that we can,
The key is awareness.
yeah.
For the
Yes.
community to be
Yes.
aware of it.
Yeah.
And the word to get out. And
Yeah.
that's going to be a challenge, a big challenge.
It is. I
because-
do think in this day and age, like if you can take a picture and put it on Instagram,
Yeah.
like that goes a long way. So I think that there's a lot of marketing opportunities.
is there a portion of that budget? So total is about 240,000?
200,000.
200,000?
Yes.
Is there a portion of that budget that we do plan to spend on marketing and getting the word out once?
We could, or we could use just our regular operating. I think
okay.
both of those are a possibility. The other part that I haven't mentioned here is that I think the Friends are very interested in fundraising. So it may be possible that we're not spending the 200,000 if they, depending on how fundraising goes. They had pledged $10,000 that we thought we would use last year to do the design of this first before I realized the whole process we had to go through.
Okay.
And then they were excited to fundraise. So I think that we can probably count on upwards of $20,000 from them.
Money from Brand.
Okay.
That would offset the 200,000, which would just mean that we're not taking that out of fund balance.
Okay.
Yeah,
So some levers to pull.
Yeah. Yes.
On the budget. And then this 100,000, is it just for the design? I'm not clear.
No, it's for design, fabrication, and installation.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. It's a lot to get into that, 100,000. Yeah,
It sounds like a lot of value.
yeah.
Because my follow-up question was, you had mentioned with the ILS contract that they do interior design.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking about, your vendors, especially the ones that you have really strong relationships with,
Mm-hmm.
like you're ringing a washcloth. What other value
Yeah.
can we get out of them?
Yes.
And interior design
Yes.
could be one, but it sounds like, obviously they don't have construction.
Right.
skill
Right.
set.
And I think this is a different kind of design. Like, this is more of a creative design
Yeah.
than, like, what Deb Hafner is amazing at is, like, this carpet will look good if you have 300 square feet of it.
Okay.
And these fabrics. She picks fabrics that I would never in a million years choose, and then you put it on something and it looks great. So she's really good at that. I think she'll be good at this. I would like her, if I can get her to participate in designing this, that'd be good too.
Like taking an active role in
Yeah,
the.
yeah,
it's up-
like,
okay.
so we, like color palettes and that kind of thing to make sure that the whole, and we're gonna be redoing furniture down there as well.
Great.
Possibly adding a tween corner, because we don't have a space for tweens exactly. Rethinking the computer area, yeah, so there's a lot of other things to do down there as well.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah,
How will we know when everything's over if it was a success or not?
I think what we hope for is increased door counts, increased attendance at children's programs, and we can also, like with checkouts, we can look at just the children's collections and see if those are checking out more. Ultimately, I would like to see an increase in our county payment based on all of those things. That may take a couple of years. I don't think we're going to see that,
Not going to be immediate.
Yeah, the
no.
ROI
Yeah,
would
right,
be hard
right.
to.
Yeah. I just feel like this is the best shot we have at trying to make a difference. Ooh, Rachel's got her hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I've been, I'm filling in at work tonight.
Yeah.
And it's been busy. So I just had a question. So I feel like a lot of this is really great. I'm really excited for this project. But piggybacking off of some of the other questions, thinking about that this isn't, like, how do we know that that's the exact reason? Like, is it based on statistics that with the children's books, how is that being, I guess, how do we know that that's where that's coming from?
I think what we're mostly looking at is in the Dane County formula, we can see how many Fitchburg residents are checking out of Verona and other places, and not Fitchburg. We also have a lot of Madison people check out here and not at a Madison location. We can see all of those numbers. So I think I've reported this, but I think about 3,000 items were checked out to Verona residents at Fitchburg, and closer to 30,000 were checked out to Fitchburg residents from Verona. So that's predominantly the numbers that we're looking at. And I would hope to see a change in those.
Other questions or comments?
Ooh, Logan's got his hand up.
Logan?
Just to kind of follow up on that that thread here,
Yeah.
Was there anything in the survey that we sent out that kind of provides any additional data or insights into this project?
No, because we didn't mention this project. I think this is going to be.
Okay.
I think that other than the castle at Verona, this is not something that we've seen a lot of in this area. I think you see a lot of it in Ohio. That I'm familiar with Ohio because I've worked there before. But looking at who is doing this kind of thing, I don't think there's a lot of it in Wisconsin, which I think also gives us like kind of a chance to be something new and different and interesting.
I like the concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and to the point, I think, Wendy, I think you said it before about kind of that Instagram, it makes for a great experience. And
Yeah.
I was in a different meeting the other day about kind of economic development and business, and that same word came up multiple times too about experience.
Yeah.
That people want something, that they can experience and they can do and they can tangibly see in a world that's all digital and everything. So I think this is a good way to do that.
Yeah.
One other question I had was just about if this is $100,000 max, is the other $100,000 then allocated or will be allocated as part of a separate RFP or as part of a separate kind of smaller projects to do some of the things you mentioned, like the tween area and or furniture and or computers and or insert the fill in the blank?
So the $200,000 is part of a CIP. So that the other 100 that doesn't go into this will be spent as part of that CIP that's for 2026. So that'll be furniture. It's higher than it needs to be, and that's because we had assumed that we would be replacing carpet, but I don't think that we're going to. So that probably takes a big chunk out of it. So I don't, we didn't spend the full $200,000 this year on the upstairs redesign, so I expect we won't spend the whole thing. I have always been told that it's better to over budget than under budget. It's easier to deal with in the end, so, yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, we'll ask for a vote for approval. All in favor say aye.
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 Approved. All right, thanks, Wendy.
Thank you.
President's report, I don't have anything. I have one thing that really does not directly impact us, but Lois Corwin, who's been on the Friends Board for the last 2 years, and last year took over as president of the Friends Board, has announced her resignation effective pretty much immediately for some personal reasons. Her husband's got some health issues, and
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I didn't know if you knew that.
No.
I should have mentioned that beforehand.
Aw.
And so I hope I'm not letting anything out of the bag, but she has told her board, and she contacted me individually because her and I worked closely together the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So they've got somebody that's going to step in and take over her president duties, and
Okay.
I don't know what that does. I know she was really gung-ho, I think, about the fundraising thing. And
Yeah.
so that might be a little step back, but I think the board as a whole is still
Yeah.
kind of gung-ho to move forward on that.
Okay.
Just want to
Yeah.
pass that on.
Yep. Good to know.
But I had nothing else for my report.
Okay.
Library director report.
All right. So as I've mentioned a couple of times, we are migrating from LinkCat to a new product. The last time we changed vendors in this way, we were not a library. So we have been with the same vendor. We did change products. I don't know if any of you remember this, but probably 5 years ago, we switched from one of their products to the other, which is kind of uncomfortable, but not a super huge problem. This is going to be a big one. We will be without service for the ILS for 3 days in April, 14th, 15th, 16th. No, 13th, 14th, 15th, and then we go live on the 16th, which is a Thursday. So this affects our patron database, all of our material database, so checkout, check-in, holds, self-checks, all of our, the sorter, all the computers. I think the computers, so they're working on right now, there's all these committees working, and they're figuring out what we're going to be able to do and what we're not going to be able to do during those 3 days. So we'll do offline circulation, so you will be able to check out, but you will have to have a library card or an ID. Self-checks will not be working. The drive-up book drop will not be working, as I understand it. I'm still waiting for some clarification there. So it's kind of a big, hairy deal. We also have a ton of staff training to do. So they're starting us off with train the trainer sessions starting pretty soon here. So we'll send as many staff. We're only allowed to send 2 staff to each one. I think what we're going to do is take that April 14th, so the middle day of the 3 days that we're down, and I think we're going to close the library and do staff training all day long so that staff can get their hands in it and see how it works, because this is going to be a pretty big change for them. I think it's going to be great in the end. I'm really excited about it. I think the new software is much better. The vendor we've been with is LibLime Koha, and it was supposed to be an open source product that was just going to be the wave of the future, and it just did not pan out that way at all. And so we went out to look for a new ILS several times since we've been open as a library, and there was never anything. Everybody's kind of switching from like software that's installed on a desktop to cloud software, and so a lot of them were doing kind of both at the same time. I think that is a little bit still the case, especially with like cataloging and acquisition stuff, but much improved. So I think the best part of this is going to be the search function for patrons. You know, now if you search for something in Linked and you make a typo, like it acts like it doesn't have any idea what you're talking about. And that makes everybody crazy because that is not how the internet works. I think the new system will do some predictive stuff, and I think we'll just be more forgiving overall. So I think it's just going to be better for the patrons. I think the app will work better because now it logs you out all the time, doesn't know who you are. There will certainly be complications. We just found out today that everybody's PIN number is going to be reset as part of this migration, which is going to be terrible. You can reset it yourself, I believe. I don't have confirmation on that. I shouldn't say that out loud. But yeah, so there's going to be some real growing pains with this. But in the end, it's going to be worth it. So that is coming in April. That closure was not on the closure list that I gave you in December because we didn't know when it was happening. But if it's all right with all of you, we'll go ahead and do that closure on April 14th. I thought about then not doing the staff in-service, but because the 14th has to just be circulation training, basically, so that we can function when we come back up, I think we'll keep the May in-service date so that we can do some other things, if that's all right with everybody. Yep. That's my big news for the library. I have some other things under the committee reports, but we can move on.
LinkCat is the portal to where a book is, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
Everyone goes through it.
Yes.
In the library, at home.
Yes.
And so we'd expect there to be a downtick in circulation, maybe.
Yes.
Like the impact.
Yes.
And so you can reset your PIN, getting help there.
Uh-huh.
You're going through train the trainers so that, and then the library staff will get training from those
Yes.
trainers that are sent back, those two, and so that they'll be equipped to support the patrons
Yes.
that are struggling.
Yes, and we are really working hard with South Central, but also just as our library on how to communicate to patrons what's going to happen.
Okay.
Not too far in advance so they don't forget, but not at the last minute so that they know what's coming. Which we had to do the last time when we just switched products within the same vendor. We had to do the same thing, so we've got kind of a roadmap for that.
And then if I'm at home, is there a number? Is there like a help desk that I call?
It would just be the reference desk or the circulation desk. It would just be calling the library.
All right, so an uptick probably in calls to the circulation
Possibly, yeah.
reference desk.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
Rachel's got a hand.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, this is all of South Central
Yes.
switching, right?
Yep. And Rachel, because you're probably familiar with products, we're going to Symphony, which is Cersei Dynex. I don't know if you've used that before.
Yep, I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
Okay.
So kind of piggybacking off of the other question. So I anticipate there'll be a lot of patron questions
Yes.
and a lot of very confused people.
Yes.
How do you plan on providing are you going to provide additional staffing or resources? Because I imagine this is going to be a little bit of a strain on your staff to handle both their building their knowledge and handling patron questions.
It's going to be a lot for everybody. I imagine that we're going to have the circulation desk double staffed. Now we often have just one person at the desk, but I think we're going to have two. I mean, at the very least for the day that we come up, but probably for a couple of days there. And that's all assuming that everything goes smoothly and we come back up when we're supposed to. There's a lot to not like about this process.
Yeah, 3 days is a long time.
Yeah.
To be down.
Yeah, it is, I think, what we did last time as well. We've got very seasoned managers, which will help us. I would say we've got a number of people that were here on opening day, and that was absolutely bonkers because nobody knew what we were doing, and we didn't know each other. So we have weathered worse than this, and we will be fine, but it will definitely be a challenge. And I think the best thing we can do is be patient and help patrons. I think for patrons, it's going to look different. I don't think it's going to look so different that they don't know what to do with it, and I think it's so much more user-friendly that it won't take them long to acclimate. Some people it will. We'll have to be doing some hand-holding at the reference desk, at the circ desk. We're going to do as much, we're going to stuff holds with bookmarks that talk about kind of the key changes, probably the PIN number thing, that just kind of a timeline of what's happening. So we'll do the best that we can. Patrons are generally very forgiving, so I think we'll be fine, most of them. Yeah.
This is an ILS-supported initiative, so ILS is kind of running things in the background.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
They're training the trainers that will be coming here, and
So we're going to South Central.
okay.
So they will have South Central staff and then also Cersei Dynex staff. And they have, I believe, they have a lot of clients. So I think that they're very good at training, which was not the case with our last vendor. I think we're the last public library leaving our vendor that is in a Department of Defense library. So it's a good move, and I think they've got a pretty decent backlog of training videos. So if we don't necessarily need a person from Cersei Dynex if we're having an issue. I think we can look at their knowledge base, which will be
Great.
a huge relief.
Yeah, and then sorry, Logan.
Logan.
Yeah, so if this is kind of across the South Central system, are other libraries planning to do kind of a similar closure, do you know, Wendy? And if so, is this something we can coordinate with them so that, let's say, Fitchburg and Verona and Madison aren't all closed on the same day?
Yeah, it's something we're talking about. I think the last meeting I was at, people were asking about just being closed to not have to deal with offline circulation, and we all just kind of laughed at that because offline circulation is not hard. We can handle it. And it wasn't until I got back from that meeting we were talking about it, and then we were like, it really would be smart to take one of those days, though, just to get the staff, to give them time. Last time we moved products, the in-service landed right before it, and so we were able to use that day. Which was helpful. So we're kind of recreating what we did last time. Yeah, so I will reach out to the other directors. We're having a lot of discussions about this, in South Central as well, about what kind of their plans are.
Perfect. And I was also going to suggest this might be a great inclusion in our new city e-newsletter, Fitchburg Connect. If you're not already signed up, sign up. It launches in February. And perhaps a feature on FACTv as well that could be put out on social media and the library's website, which I'm preaching to the choir, but would, I think, be helpful to kind of, and even afterwards too, maybe even kind of walk through and show people step by step, here's how you change your PIN number.
Yes, absolutely. Yep, good suggestions.
Nice.
And I have one other, or a couple questions about something else, but I don't want to cannibalize if we're still on talking about the migration here. So
go ahead.
So it's come up in our Transportation and Transit Commission meetings that in response to some resident feedback, the Fitchburg Public Library is now hosting some transit materials and fast fare cards. Just thought that was fantastic. And I don't know if that's in one of your upcoming reports here under facilities or personnel, but was excited to hear that. And one thing we've talked about at Transportation and Transit Commission was finding ways that we can better promote transit. Is we're kind of looking at expanding transit all-day service on 2 more bus routes in the city this year. So that there's already a partnership with the library here. I'd be eager to work on and kind of be a bridge to see what we can do about planning some of those events and maybe possibly using the library or kind of collaborating. I'm kind of just putting it out into the world for now and waiting for the details to fill in later. But was excited to hear this because we heard from a Metro Transit rider that there was nowhere in Fitchburg to get the fare cards, and Metro Transit basically said, come to East Washington Avenue, which is fine if you drive, but you can't really get there from a lot of bus routes in Fitchburg, which kind of defeats the purpose. And all the Madison libraries have them, so was grateful to hear that
we've got little
we've joined the party.
packets put together with all the information about it, and I think they're and the card. The card, we can't put money on the card here at the library, so you get the blank card, and you can we can help you figure out how to do it online, or you can take it to, I think Quick Trip will put it on. There's a couple different locations that you can add money to it. So yeah, so real easy for us to be a partner because we get a lot of people here. I need to double check and make sure that we have signage at the desk. So I was going to put one of the little cards like in a little holder so that people knew that they were there. So I got to remember to do that. Excellent.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anything else?
Related to the director's report?
Yeah.
Strategic plan, I'd made a mention.
Wait, let's go into committee reports.
Okay.
Because I'm going to get to that. I'm trying to not
Got it.
put everything in my director's report when it applies somewhere else.
Yep.
I'm not very good at that. All right, so
Want to move to committee reports?
yes,
Okay.
yep. So we're starting with statistics. So we're at year to date now. So we've got the whole year in here. You'll see overall circulation went down 0.7%, which I think in the scheme of things is not too bad. I know some other libraries were down like full percentage points, and that just seems to be the trend at the moment, which nobody's happy about. Adult programs, we had more adult programs in 2025 than we've ever had in a year at the library, so that's great. And attendance, I think, was second highest that we've ever had. Happy to see that. You'll see youth programs were also up and attendance, so that's really good to see. Teens are up too, which is great. Teens are real hard to nail down about when they want to be here. Under wireless sessions, you'll notice we've got 4 empty months there. The software that we use through South Central to count wireless sessions, this is the second time they've done this to us in the last 5 years, but they apparently changed whatever kind of algorithm they're using to total those, and the numbers were coming back completely bonkers compared to what we've had all year. So South Central talked to the Department of Public Instruction because this is something we report in the annual report, and they decided that they would just leave the last 4 months off, that they didn't want to try to make some sort of conversion from one to the other. So I expect when we get these numbers in January, it's either going to be much higher or much lower. I don't know which way it went. They haven't been posting them for us to see, so I assume so that nobody can put it in their report and mess everything up. So that's why that's empty. You'll also notice, I was sort of interested in this, that Overdrive, so this is Libby if you use it, eBooks is down a little bit, but e-audiobooks is up quite a bit. I just thought that was sort of interesting, people's habits. And that's everything I have for statistics. Any questions on those? All right.
Something that showed up for me recently, MMSD, some, literacy epidemic, student learning loss over the summer. If there was a way to, and I don't know if this is under the charge of the Statistics Committee, but, are we tracking the right things? Is there anything else we could add connecting into some of those broader community Madison area initiatives? I just want to put that out there.
Sure. Something to look into. All right, then I'm going to move on to facilities. I do not have good news. We, if you remember in November, had a pump go out on the new HVAC system. That was able to be rebuilt and was just installed yesterday. Do not have a bill yet on what that cost when they were in there. So there was also a valve in one of the compressors that went out. That was replaced, I think free of charge, but when they went to replace it, they noticed there was a crack in some sort of window. And the 5-year warranty on a compressor is only for full replacement, not for a cracked window. So we are getting a bid on that to see what the replacement cost will be. The good news, I guess, is that we are maintaining heat in this building very nicely, and it's been very cold. Our power bill was sky high in December, but I think everybody's was. So I don't worry about the system not working. I think we're starting to see some efficiencies with it, but I hesitate to say that because it's not my wheelhouse, and the minute I say that, I will be proven wrong. The other facilities thing to report is that the solar is now functioning, and it did cost us $4,600 to get that done. So that was the replacement of the inverter and the hours that they spent up on the roof finding the arc fault that was preventing it from feeding into the inverter. So we are potentially already overspent in our very meager budget for 2026 on building repairs. I have not calculated the carryover yet because we're waiting for some numbers from the finance department. We will carry over money from last year, so we budgeted $5,000. It will be more than that, but we have probably spent $5,000. The $4,600 was last year, so that will come out before the carryover. Kevin, on my behalf, has made it very clear to the city that we will be doing no work on the solar array in 2026 because there is no money for it. And typically what they do is, unbeknownst to us, call them, have them go up and do a bunch of work, and then tell us that we have a bill. And I'm not playing with that anymore. Like, don't go on the roof. The staff have already also been told, like, don't let people on the roof without somebody in this building knowing about it. So that's not great news, but it is what it is. I'm glad it's working. That's good. I'll take that. I think that's everything I have for facilities. Personnel. I never like to say this out loud because I jinx myself every time, but we are fully staffed. Everything's good. New people are doing great. Very happy with everybody. Moving on. Strategic planning. So my plan, if everything goes the way it's planned to for the next month, is to have the managers come to the February meeting to present the strategic plan document that we've been working on. So it includes the environmental scan that we did, survey results that we did, and then the areas that we think that we should be focusing on for the next 5 years. And then we would like input from you on that. So I hope that works for everybody. That's all. You had a question about strategic planning?
Nope.
Okay.
Just an update.
Okay. Excellent. All right.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Then I think we are, lots of information tonight.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yep.
We will have our next board meeting Wednesday, February 18th, 2026 at 5:30 here in this room. Motion for adjournment. I should ask anybody online any further comments or questions? Okay. And a motion for adjournment.
Motion.
All right, Brett. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good night.